So I think a question that a lot of people are asking themselves inside and outside of the party is reform. Is it falling apart? With all of the current events and controversy and other things happening, the Reform Party really are having a terrible time of it. So you have the situation with Farage and Rupert Lowe. Well, it's basically reform against Rupert Lowe. That's just prompted a big kind of outpouring of people all coming out in support of Rupert Lowe. You even have his parliamentary team, who actually are not his staff. They've done a really unusual step of releasing a statement saying that actually Rupert is a good guy and the whole thing has been concocted as nonsense. So you have that. So that's still rumbling along in the background. Farage and Lowe have been going back and forward on X. They've both done a series of interviews, kind of going after each other. But yeah, loads of people have come out against Farage. The knives have already come out. Now, it could be a combination of people that have had grievances. It could be genuine, that a lot of people who have worked with Nigel in the past have seen his failings and have just kind of seen this as the opportunity to either air their grievances or just kind of weigh in and tell the truth about the man himself. I mean, the whole situation with Rupert Lowe, there's a lot of evidence really now that's come out that Farage and the party, it's more of a political hatchet job, and it stems from a case of ideology, but maybe I'll cover that in a different video. But yeah, it's just not going well for reform. On the back of this, you also have people questioning Mohammed Yousaf's role, Zia Yousaf, because ever since he has kind of stepped in, the politics have been watered down. So a lot of people are kind of questioning his position. You had the kind of debacle of Richard Tice going on GB News and being absolutely savaged, is another way to describe it, by Camilla Tomney. I mean, it was just a savaging. He just took the very political line, couldn't really answer anything, was sort of trying to defend the situation, but just got absolutely torn apart. Now, personally, I'm not a massive fan of Richard Tice, but whether you like him or not, he's shown that he can do the political thing. I mean, his answers were all very politician. And for someone that started off as a businessman, he's kind of taken to it like a duck to water. He comes across as someone that would be a good Tory MP. He's very slick in his political answers and the way that he circumvents the question. So you also have, there's been some losses from the Reform website. They have this counter on there that says how many people are members. They've lost several thousand. I don't think that's enough really to dent things, but there is a little bit of feeling there. I mean, there may well be that when it comes time for people to renew, they might not renew. So it'll be interesting to see how much more that tends to climb, or whether they're going to face more sort of losses. And also £25, I mean, they could knock a few quid off that, surely, I don't know. You also have the spectacle of Lee Anderson going at it with Steve Bray, the anti-Brexit guy who just hangs around outside of Parliament or whatever. Just, I don't know what he was thinking, especially at this particular time when reform is really under the cosh. He gets into it with this guy. This guy is known to antagonise people. He's an anti-Brexit guy. He just literally, I don't know what he does, and it's one of the jokes is I don't think he has a job. He just hangs around and harangues people. But Lee Anderson felt the need to get into it. And at one point, he's really getting in they're both kind of getting in each other's faces. But then Lee Anderson, in his wisdom, decides to flick the man's hat, causing Steve Bray to then push him, and then the police have to get involved. And I just don't know what Anderson's thinking. Just walk away. You don't even have to engage the guy. And to try and sort of get in his face, wag your finger in his face, and then think you're being cheeky by kind of flicking his hat and then kind of trying to get a reaction. Maybe that was what he was going for. He certainly got a reaction because he got shoved quite hard. So yeah, he kind of really, he just it's just not a great look. It really isn't. And it's a really interesting, like all of the reform guys, they pick some people, don't they? They really do. And it's not the right time for this. I mean, there's so much to attack the government on and kind of really exert some political pressure. You know, at the moment they're leaving the real opposition to the Conservatives, which mostly is Robert Jenrick, who seems to be really going hard on everything, and has been for a little while. And that should really be reform. Reform should be doing that. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with them, but they really need to get a grip, get control of this situation. You know, Farage has been sort of doing the rounds on media, sort of doing some sort of damage control, saying about the situation. Oh, I've seen it all before, seen it all before. And it turns out that a lot of it is just because Rupert Lowe wanted to deport loads of people, and certain figures in Reform didn't think that was great, it wasn't going to win them votes. But yeah, that's something maybe I need to go into a little bit more detail. But yeah, are Reform falling apart? Can they get it together? These are the questions.